Let me speak as a pediatrician. You should vaccinate your kids. Benefits of the vaccine clearly outweigh the risks.
We looked at the risks of disease, the risks of death, of hospitalizations, of long COVID among children. And importantly, we looked at how well these vaccines work. 91% effective against infection. And then, of course, we reviewed the safety data. There were no severe events associated with the safety of this vaccine.
There is a disease category upon which the FDA, the CDC, and all stakeholders agree that the vaccines cause, and that's myocarditis or heart inflammation. The risks of the vaccines are far greater than the risks of COVID-19, the respiratory illness.
I've looked at the myocarditis cases. I'm not very concerned about most of them. Unlike viral myocarditis we see where there's heart failure, this is a symptomatic mild inflammation that is very transient, goes away very quickly in most kids.
I am stunned when I hear people dismiss myocarditis as an acceptable side effect because myocarditis is life-threatening and a life-disabling condition. We don't know the long-term prognosis of vaccine-induced myocarditis, whether heart damage is permanent. We haven't studied the problem long enough.
A twinge of chest discomfort, they may go to the hospital, they draw a blood test, they say, oh, well, there's a cardiac enzyme that's a little high. We're going to keep them for observation for a day. They send them home and they tell them to not run a marathon for the next 3 months.
I'm telling you, as a specialist, myocarditis is not mild.
I wondered why we're not warned about myocarditis at the time of vaccination. The FDA says you'll recover if you don't exercise for 3 months. But what happens if someone doesn't know they have it and they don't rest?
Although we can't say with certainty yet, the pediatric cardiologists feel that the chance that this is going to be associated with any kind of lasting effect is extremely small.
December 17th, 2020, they did a study. And they knew they cause heart conditions in teenagers. Why wasn't this information released until October 1st this year? They need to quit pushing this on their children.
A lot was going on right after the shot. I had extreme pain in my shoulder and my elbow, and then all the tingling came in. But I had the sensation that water was running from the corner of my mouth down to the side here, my fingers.
And the Novocaine, right?
Right, it was like...
I had that feeling, the Novocaine gum or mouth.
It was like coming out of the dentist or something like that. Holding things is harder than it was before.
You had a reaction, and now you have to decide if you're gonna give your kids the vaccine, and if you don't, they're not going to school. Although the California school mandate was postponed, many parents had already rushed to vaccinate their children, and the threat still looms.
But there was so much information coming out. You need to do it because of this, and you need to not do it because of this. And there was just no way to navigate that. The day before Evie went in for his, I crumpled into a ball in the shower, sobbing, felt like I had failed my children, that I couldn't protect them. I couldn't see how to protect them. I mean, thank goodness there was no reaction like mine.
I'm not going to risk my child's health when, if he has a reaction, I know he will not be taken seriously. He will not be cared for. He will not be anything. He also won't be able to necessarily tell me how he's feeling differently because he's just turned 7. He actually just got COVID last month. He had a mild fever and sluggishness for a few hours. By the time it was bedtime, it was gone. And he was totally normal. If you want to vaccinate your child, fantastic. I don't care. Do whatever you think is right. But I'm not risking my child's safety for something that to me seems completely unnecessary.
Overall, I think the potential for benefit of vaccinating children is enormous, but there simply haven't been enough children studied yet to know for sure.
I do believe that children at highest risk do need to be vaccinated, but vaccinating all of the children to achieve that seems a bit much for me. So I'm having some challenges with this one.
What you're pointing at is if you have something that is very safe and you can administer in a mass vaccination, why wouldn't you do it if you can prevent even, 400 deaths of children a year? Am I understanding that calculus correctly?
Exactly. So children certainly can get this virus. I was on service last week. We had a child who had a pretty severe COVID pneumonia, and he was really struggling. So if this disease can be prevented safely, then it should be prevented.
So today I want to look at a study from Singapore, over 250,000 children. Now, 22 of the children suffered a severe adverse reaction to the vaccination. Only 5 children needed oxygen. And of that 5, only 4 were admitted to intensive care. There was 2 went to intensive care from the fully vaccinated group and only 1 from the unvaccinated group. The risk of adverse events is more than 4 times the risk of the child requiring oxygenation or indeed being admitted to intensive care. The risk-benefit analysis has changed.
I'm still concerned. What could we find down the road? And do we have to do this again?
Would you do it again?
No matter what they try, I will always fight for you.